What's good, YouTube? It's Rico the Foxy here, and here's another interesting deck profile. It's Noble Knights. Just a few weeks ago or months ago, I don't remember if I ever mentioned in a video. I mentioned that I was really interested in building a Noble Knight deck, just because I like the concepts behind it. I've always been a fan of the Arthurian legends and the Knights of the Round Table and all that crap, and that's what the Noble Knights are based off of. I held off on the idea because the Noble Knights didn't really have a lot of support, and then they made Cosmo Blazer, and that was like Caliburn, Madrout, Artorigus, and all that crap. So yeah, when they announced this stuff, I decided, well, I could actually try and make a Noble Knight deck, and then I put it off until 2 days ago when I just randomly decided, yes, I'm putting this plan into action, and went from having almost no Noble Knights to almost all the Noble Knights. So I was like, one day Noble Knight deck. I was gonna post this yesterday, but it still had some I didn't want to risk it being an inconsistent build that I posted, and I tested it today, and yes, it was inconsistent. So I fixed it up. It's running a lot better now. I haven't completely tested it yet. So yeah, it's pretty fun. Let's get into it. Just a forewarning, I actually do not have all the pieces for this yet. So it's actually, there are 5 cards total proxied. 4 of them are in the main deck. 1 of them is in the extra deck. Just making sure this camera's set up. Okay. So yeah, let's get into it. First up are the actual Noble Knights, which is 3 Artorigus. Despite being a normal monster, he is probably one of the most important cards in the deck. Being a warrior that's light, has Noble Knight in his name, and being a normal monster really helps his uses in the deck. So he can be used for just about anything. 3 Gawain, that's one of the ones I have proxied. I can probably get one soon, I just haven't yet. Gawain is pretty much the Gear accelerator of the deck. You control a light normal monster, you can special summon him, which is what makes him useful with Artorigus. And he just makes all of your C's plays, and even if you don't have a light normal monster on play, he's got 1900 attack, so he's pretty powerful on his own. And yeah, so there's that. And then the Big Daddy, Triple Madrout, which I don't have partly because it's a $30 card. Yeah, that's gonna be a bitch to get. Yeah, I do have a Bismegalo, so maybe I could sell that before it drops in price more. Anyway, I digress. Noble Knight Madrout is awesome because he does so much for the deck. He is while he's on the field and unequipped to a Noble Arms, he's a light normal monster that's a warrior, so he works with Gawain and all that. If you equip him with the Noble Arms, he becomes a level 5, which works with Madrout to make rank, or not Madrout, with Lancelin to make rank 5 plays. And you can, if he's equipped with the Noble Arms and the only monster you control, you can search for another Noble Knight and destroy the Noble Arms you control, which makes more Xyz plays. So he's pretty freaking good. And that's probably why he's expensive. So I did think ahead as to how would I build the deck without Madrout, because honestly I feel the deck can still be somewhat functional without Madrout, it's just not as good. So I was thinking I'd probably drop them and put in a Compulse, a Book of Moon, and a Night Assailant. Because I currently don't have Night Assailant as part of the tour guide engine, but yeah. That's how I do it without Madrout. Obviously, Madrout would be a good idea. So, yeah. And then we got the bad guy, the Ignoble Knight, of Black Lancelin. Only one, because while he is a floater and he does and he does searching for you and all that stuff, he doesn't plus, because to summon him costs the Noble Knight or light normal you control, and then to search costs the Noble Knight you control. So pretty much no matter what you do with him, you're not plussing, you're 1-for-1ing. Or minusing yourself if you're going in terms of just field advantage when you search. So he's not that good. He does have his uses. He can loop the Noble Arms that you've already used the effects of and just bring him back. He is stronger than like Artorigus, Gawain, and Madrout, so if you really need the extra power, he can do that. And because he's level 5, he works with Madrout. You just summon Madrout, equip him with the Noble Arms, summon Lancelin, destroy the Noble Arms, use the Noble Arms, re-equip with the Madrout, and make an Andreas. So he has his uses, but he's not amazing, so only one. And then on to the fun stuff. 2 Rescue Rabbit. This should be obvious, you're running a deck revolving around normal monsters. And 3 Elemental Hero Sparkman. You might be wondering, why the fuck Elemental Hero Sparkman? Well, let's look into it. He is a normal monster. He is light. He's level 4. He is a warrior. That is all a bunch of stuff that should tip you off as to how he helps with that. He is a normal monster, so you can summon him with Rabbit. You can use him to summon Gawain because he's a light normal monster. You can tribute him for Lancelin. Since he's a warrior, he works with Blade Armor Ninja and all the warrior Xyz. And the only thing bad about him is that he's got 1600 attack, but believe it or not, that is the strongest any light warrior normal monster gets. The next best thing is Queen's Knight, which has 1500, and that's a bad idea. So that's why Sparkman's awesome. You could use Neos Alias because he's a normal monster on the field, and he's got 1900 attack. Thing is, he doesn't work with the Demon Bunny. That's what I call Rabbit because it's stupid. Because with 2 rabbits in the deck, it is nice to have 2 targets for it. So that's why I use Sparkman over Neos Alias. Assuming Rabbit goes to 1, which I'm pretty sure it probably will. I would probably switch to Sparkman with Neos Alias because at that point you only need 1 target for Rabbit. But for now it's Sparkman. And the original build actually didn't have Sparkman in it. It had just Artorgus, and then I was running Torbus to loop Artorgus back into the deck. And that's part of what gave me the inconsistency. After throwing Sparkman in, the deck got really, really consistent. So he helps a lot more than you would think he would. And then Tour Guide Engine, 2 Tour Guide Sangan. You're running Rabbit. Obviously, this is where the Tour Guide Engine comes in. Honest is the last monster because you're running a bunch of light monsters, so Honest. Monsters I have run in the past and took out, Night Assailant and or Torbus. I already explained what Torbus was for. You could summon it and then loop an Artorgus back in and makes a second Rabbit live. Didn't like that because every time I drew Torbus it was hell. Night Assailant, I just didn't have the room, and honestly I don't feel like I need to use Tour Guide twice in one duel. So yeah, and no Blackluster Soldier. I tried it because there is the Tour Guide Engine and Lancelin. I tried it, I hated it. It's like, honestly, I think for BLS to be really truly good in a deck that's not focused in chaos, you have to have at least 6 of each attribute. Because like it works in my Plant Synchro deck because I have updated it, so it's not the same as the one I posted a week ago. So I need to do another deck profile on that. But the current build has 2 Valor, 3 Raikou, and then there's Formula Synchron, which I will probably get out every duel. So yeah, that one, like that, I can run BLS because there's enough lights in that. This one, it's only got 4 darks, 5 when I had the Torbus. So, yeah, so that's why I don't run BLS. I didn't like it. I almost never got it out, or when I did get it out, it was too late. So, yeah, no BLS. And that's all the monsters. So, under the spells, obviously there'd be the 3 Noble Arms. I have 3 Gallatin, 3 Arfudutor, and 1 Caliburn. The reason for the numbers, the original build only had 2 each of Gallatin and Arfudutor and 1 Caliburn. I was finding that with only 5 Noble Arms, I wasn't drawing them often, which made my drought not very good. So I bumped these up to 3, and it actually helped a lot because that means almost every game I'll open with the Noble Arms. Gallatin's good because it's a 1000 attack boost, and the 200 drop isn't really important because if your monster equipped 2 stays on the field long enough to actually lose lose all the attack from the Gallatin, then your opponent's probably bad because they left the monster on the field for that long. Arfudutor serves as the deck's MST because it pops a set card that costs a 500 attack. And that's also why I don't run MST in the deck, because Arfudutor does the job well enough. And then Caliburn's the weakest one, which is why I only run 1 of them, because the 500 attack boost is nice and the 500 life point gain is nice, but outside of that, it doesn't do anything. Like, there's not a lot of offensive power to it, so Caliburn, I feel, is better off at 1, while the other 2 are good at 3. And yeah, what I like about the Noble Arms is that they can be equipped to any warrior type monster. It's like not just the Noble Knights, so you can equip them to Sparkman, any of the warrior Xyz. It's not just the Noble Knights. So, but of course, to re-equip them, you need to use the Noble Knights, and looping them is pretty fun to constantly to use Caliburn twice or to use Arfudutor twice, or it's like your monster's getting weak with Gallatin, you just re-equip, like you activate Heavy Storm and just re-equip the stuff. That's another thing. The deck doesn't really care about Heavy Storm because if they destroy the Noble Arms, you just re-equip them. There was one guy in Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro who actually did that. He activated Pot of Duality. He turned over a Heavy Storm, he grabbed it, and the activated Heavy Storm was like, okay, I re-equipped the 2, and then he scooped. So, yeah. That was funny. And that's all the Noble Arms, and there's Rhoda, because it's a warrior deck, obviously. Pot of Avarice, you're going to be filling your graveyard really fast with all the Xyz and the Dino Rabbits, or the Rescue Rabbits, and all that crap. And then the basic 3 Dark Hole Heavy Storm Monster Boom. Like I said, no MST because Arfeud Eater. I did try Pot of Duality. I special summoned too much in this deck, and it was bad, so I took Pot of Duality out. And then the trap lineup is extremely standard. 2 Bondless, 2 Compulse, Solemn Brigade, and 2 Tarantula. I did try Deep Prison and Mirror Force. I found that they were getting popped too often, and so I took them out because I prefer to have chainable traps, I've realized. So yeah, that's the entire lineup. Like I said, if I can't get my draw, I would drop them for a book, another Compulse, and a Night Assailant, just for stuff. And extra deck. 1 Atreus and 1 Tyrus, just if I need to make a rank 5. Probably put Volcasaurus in here when I actually get it, like when it actually comes out. Artorgus, King of the Noble Knights, only 1 because he's generally best in the late game, and he's okay to not very, like decent to not very good in the early mid game. Is it just because he grabs the Noble Arms from the graveyard, so it's better to use him when you have all the Noble Arms in the graveyard. But late game he is amazing because you just equip him, he gets this massive boost, and he can pop back row equal to the number of Noble Arms equipped to him. So yeah, Artorgus is pretty good. The only thing I don't like about Artorgus is that he needs Noble Knights specifically to be made, so no Sparkman, but whatever. Also, now that I just thought of this, don't run Noble Knight Joan, because she shouldn't even be a Noble Knight. She was not a Knight of the Round Table, she was Joan of Arc, and she wasn't even a Noble Knight in the first place. She was a random monster in the OCG that they decided to release here and call her a Noble Knight. Makes no sense, she's not a Noble Knight, she doesn't work with the deck. 1 Blade Armor Ninja, this is the 1 Xyz monster I don't have for the deck. I actually will probably be able to get one soon, so. But yeah, Blade Armor Ninja is obvious, it's Blade Armor Ninja. Gaga Gunman, or Cowboy. Jesus, I just said his Japanese name. That one, the Japanese name just rolls off the tongue better, Gaga Gunman, as opposed to Gaga Cowboy. Anyway, mainly partly because he's a warrior, so I can equip him with Noble Arms, so if I had to, like, I could set him in defense mode, equip him with Arfeeder, pop a back row, and inflict 800 to my opponent, or if I'm in attack mode, equip him with Caliburn and Gallatin, attack, and then he uses effect to boost by 15, like effectively 1500, because he boosts by 1000 and drops an opponent by 500. So I think Cowboy could be useful in the deck. Hero Champion Excalibur, obvious, it's a warrior deck. Kusanagi, oh my god, Kusanagi is so good. For those who don't know what Kusanagi does, he takes 3 level 4 warrior type monsters. If once during either player's turn, if a trap card is activated, he can negate it, destroy it, and gain 500 attack. So he pretty much shuts down trap cards. So it's like getting him out is amazing. The only thing he's really weak to is probably Dark Hole. Maestroke, standard. Shockmaster, standard. It is very easy to make Shockmaster and Kusanagi in this deck, because all you need to do is open with Gawain and either Rabbit or Madrat and an equip spell, or you can just open a light normal warrior and 2 Gawain. It's just there's so many plays that will get you 3 warriors on the board. Utopia, obvious, and then Levier, Leviathan, Acid Golem, Tempo, Zen mains. So aside from the first few Xyz, it's a really standard extra deck. And that's the whole deck. It's pretty consistent. I wouldn't call it broken. Like, I could probably take it to a tournament and do good with it, but I wouldn't expect to win, especially because Fire Fists are dumb. I finally got to face that today. Hoping Tenki goes to 1, probably not going to happen. But yeah. Yeah, Fire Fists are going to be a little stupid. Anyway, that's the deck. Thanks for looking. Thanks for watching. Plant Synchro deck update will be up in a few days, maybe tomorrow. I don't know. Light Sworn update isn't needed because the only change is that there's a Vacant Saver in it. So, yeah, and Zephyr deck's probably not going to happen because I dismantled it to make the double knight deck. So, thanks for watching. See you next time. Deuces.